In any condition.
Wait, my body's falling apart. I'm not trying to make it no more. My knees,
Yeah, Dad's is the 22nd.
January?
January. Renee's is tonight. Mine is the 16th.
The best way to avoid conflict in these situations
Mom's was yesterday.
is just to agree.
Mom's was yesterday.
Cheers.
My daddy's would have been today.
You're right. We got a problem with the
My wedding anniversary is the 18th.
Has to be 7, so he would be
Try to figure out, I try to remember since it's around Valentine's Day.
Baby off the meds.
That's over with.
The dad passed.
All we gotta do is
If he'd have been,
There you go.
I was going to.
I think that's why I know you do it.
That's right.
Go ahead,
I saw you guys are getting
Are we ready with technology? Okay.
selfie.
Stephanie, you gonna turn us on?
Anyway. Let me get my brand new specs out here.
All right, there you go.
Brand new ones.
All right.
I can't get used to it. I don't wear them, Chase. You don't want to wear your glasses? Anyway.
You don't like them?
You get used to these things with
So we can drive the TV in.
Gotcha.
you know, you're looking at something.
It was in the right place when I got here, it was just turned around
It
backwards.
looked right for a while there. They said it'd take me a couple months.
Okay.
Anyway.
well, people naturally think
I'm waiting
that,
on our clerk.
they naturally think that it
Yeah,
belongs in
stepped out
between
for a
the two
second.
Just
things.
step back there for a second. Yep.
Yeah, it's, makes it difficult for everybody to see when you're standing behind it.
Of course, I can let Forrest take the minutes while she's out.
Sir?
I'll let you take the minutes while she's out. You wanna wait? We're gonna be slightly delayed, waiting on our minute taker to come back.
Thirsty, but I didn't mean for it to make it run.
Are you bringing those for us?
I am.
Can we get one now?
Sure you can.
I got a little bit of a dry mouth.
Take one, pass it down. You want one, Roger?
yes, sir. Anybody else want one?
Reggie, you want?
So you want
Yeah.
one?
Give me one.
Okay, I'll have to get another one.
I'm good. Don't worry about it.
There you go.
I'm all right.
We can share.
I got you, Jamie.
Couple straws.
All righty. We're going to call to order the Effingham Board of Commissioners regular meeting this February 7th, 2023. And we'll begin with roll call. Mr. Forrest Floyd.
Here.
Commissioner Burdette.
Here.
Mr. Corbett's here. Commissioner Deloach.
Here.
Commissioner Loper.
Here.
And Commissioner Kiefer. Mr. Kiefer is out tonight. He had a stomach virus, expressed his desire to be here, but we did appreciate him not bringing his virus to us tonight. But I think he's in a lounge chair and staying close to where he needs to be. But we'll miss his input tonight. With that, if we could rise for the invocation and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. Gracious Father, we are so thankful again to come tonight among friends and really family of Effingham County, among this friendship we share around this board. We appreciate the opportunity to serve. We ask that you give us wisdom and discernment as we listen to the business of the evening and make those decisions that will bless our constituents and also be things that are glorifying to you. We pray for those this week that have experienced loss in our community. Ask that you comfort their loved ones and watch over them, we pray. And once again, we thank you for everyone who's here tonight as they participate. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. That moves us down to number 5, our agenda for approval. Are there any additions or corrections to the agenda as presented?
There are none.
Okay. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Deloach, and have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Burdette. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Hearing none, we have our agenda. Item number 6, consideration of the minutes approval for January 17, 2023 work session and the regular meeting minutes of January 28th through 29th of the 2023 retreat minutes. Do you have a motion to approve as presented?
I'll make a motion to approve both sets of minutes as presented.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Deloach, second by Mr. Floyd to approve both as presented. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Hearing none, it passes unanimously. Welcome everyone to the meeting tonight. Comments should pertain to the agenda items only. Should you wish to make remarks, come to the microphone, state your name, speak clearly if you would please for the recording so our clerk can get it when she's putting the minutes down a little later. All the correspondence for this meeting, the documents are located in our clerk's office and on our website. Hope you've had a chance to review those and are prepared to participate at the appropriate time. If you keep comments on agenda items only, that'd be appreciated. 2 to 3 minutes helps everyone have an opportunity to speak to an item. Move to item number 9, our consent agenda. This section shall include all the routine items for which there will be no discussion. Should a need arise for debate, the items can be moved to an appropriate area of the agenda. I'll read the consent agenda items and then I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda. Item number 1 is consideration to approve a corrective temporary construction easement agreement between Cassie M. Heinley and the Board of Commissioners of Effingham County. Item number 2, under the consent agenda, consideration to approve a lease agreement between Effingham County Board of Commissioners and the State Properties Commission for the Department of Juvenile Justice. This is lease number 8588. Item number 3, consideration to approve to ratify and affirm submittal of a grant application to an acceptance of a grant award from Georgia Trauma Commission, GTC. This is EMS Trauma-Related Equipment Grant. Item number 4, consideration to accept a grant award from ACCG Employee Safety Grant Program. Item number 5, consideration to approve to ratify and affirm an amended purchase order for the purchase of 3 ambulances for EMS. Item number 6, consideration to approve acceptance of Effingham County's share from the Johnson & Johnson opioid settlement. Item number 7 is consideration to approve sanitation releases as submitted by administrative staff and approved by the tax commissioner, tax assessor, and the fire chief. That is our consent agenda. Do I have a motion to
Make a
approve?
motion to approve as read.
Second.
Motion, Mr. Loper, second by Mr. Deloach to approve the consent agenda as read. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Hearing none, it passes unanimously. So we move to item number 10, which is unfinished business. This contains items from the previous agenda that were tabled. There's 2. The planning board, number 1, the planning board recommends approving an application by J. Malpin as agent for Oleg Miknik. Request a variance located at Highway 21 to reduce required buffers between industrial and various zone parcels. Zone B3, proposed zoning, B3, and I-1 map number 465, parcel number 1 in the 5th district. This was postponed from the January 3rd meeting. You want to bring
Yes,
us up to
good evening.
speed?
So this item was postponed at the last planning board agenda for the Board of Commissioners. You should have hopefully in front of you the latest revised exhibit submitted by the applicant, and where he covered a few different items that were discussed at the last meeting. He has revised the buffers to include a 150-foot buffer between his newly industrial rezoned property and his B3 property on Highway 21. He's also added a measurement from his frontage on 21 to the property line of 211 feet. And he is showing a 50-foot buffer between 50 feet and 100 feet on the west, with a 50-foot buffer against Elite Sports. And is requesting to eliminate all buffers on the east side to the adjacent industrial property in order to expand an existing car export business.
All righty, thank you so much for that update. We'll open a public hearing to continue from our last meeting, see if there's any comments from the public or maybe the applicant, if they're here tonight. Anyone like to speak to this variance request, for or against? Seeing no one coming forward, I'll close the public hearing and open it to the board for discussion or motion.
So the 50 feet is gonna be on the left side. And it's 211 feet on the Highway 21 side.
211 feet is the distance between Highway 21 and the property line for the B3 parcel.
Okay, so that's not the buffer. Okay.
Is this over next to you?
But 150-foot buffer in the front.
Correct.
Back end
Okay.
towards the front?
That's, and when you say front, that's the part that's facing 21.
Yes, in between, so the front of the I-1 parcel before the B3 parcel on 21.
Right, so you got 200 feet of B3 parcel and 150 foot of buffer,
Correct.
which hopefully will protect us from the eye of a 21.
Well, I'll just go ahead and jump out here and give y'all my opinion. I could be out in left field, but might not be the first time. I just don't feel good about the 50-foot buffer. I don't feel like he's given anything up. I feel like when we've gone under 300 feet, I feel like we've gotten a berm or some type of vegetative buffer, and I just don't feel like we're being given anything here. And I just think if we go along with this, I just don't think that's a good idea for this board to take that route. If he had a berm in here or something else, I might would feel differently about it, but that's just where I'm at.
You know, looks like there's gonna be about three areas you'll be able to see through that from the B3. I agree with Commissioner Deloach. If we could have some kind of berm in those areas and that buffer, but to go from 300 down to 50 with no berm or anything, that's, you know, the B3 is gonna be,
This is next to industrial, right?
no, sir, that side's B3 on the left side.
Yeah.
That's retail. I'm pretty sure there's a building along one of these areas.
Says Elite Sports, an existing metal building, and then a builder's
That used to be
first
like
source.
a play area back at that Elite Sports for kids. Right there.
Well, I'll make a motion if you want a motion, unless somebody else wants to
Yeah.
make more comments.
I did tell Phil, but I really appreciate your comments, and that's the side I would fall on. Phil couldn't be here tonight. I think it's in his district, isn't it?
It is. I mean, and just what I'm looking at is, if they're asking something from us, then they need to give us something as well.
Right.
I mean, I just don't think, I'm not a big fan of 50-foot buffers anyway in industrial period, but definitely with no berm or vegetative buffer, I just definitely don't like it at all.
Particularly when it's bordering a B3.
Yeah, that's the problem with me, it's the B3, because I think we'll be pretty well protected from the highway. But those
Yeah,
people won't be
The
protected. from
21
B3.
is fine, it's the
Yeah.
distances to the left.
Get a
I
lot
think
of
we're
distance on
concerned about,
21.
right?
They looking at this property?
There's 150 plus the 200, should protect 21, but it's these businesses on the left, yeah. Phil did say that he would support what the staff was recommending, but I think he would, if he was here to be able to listen. So I gotta say what he told me on the phone, but I think if he was listening to your comments, I think he would be in agreement with us that going to 50 foot and not giving us something, vegetative buffer or a berm, I think he would be in agreement that that would be something he would want for his district.
Yeah.
Does anybody know if the warehouse is a proposed warehouse, or is that
Oh,
existing?
that's his parking, gravel, yeah. What'd you say?
Is the 100,000 square foot warehouse, is that existing, or is that,
No, it's not existing,
it's proposed?
yeah.
Okay.
And so the issue really here has to do with the kind of the parking area, right? That's the area that goes into the buffer area, the gravel parking area. You can kind of see it's 6-inch GABC.
And it looks like it'd be an easy fix with a berm, to me, if it, but,
And most of it's clear, and you're probably right.
'cause you
That
wouldn't have to berm the large amount of wetlands right there. You're gonna get 75 foot, there, you're gonna 100 and something feet on this side.
well, if he did, and we can go back to him on it. If he did because obviously you can't put a berm in the wetlands.
Right.
So if he did, if he went and did a berm on the outside of those wetland areas, right? You kind of see where the 50-foot buffer is. What height would that give him?
Yeah, well, on 50 foot, what could a 10 or 15 foot berm on a 50 foot?
Yeah. So divided by 3, so a 10-foot berm approximately.
Which if all you have is cars there, that would cover those up.
Yeah.
Now, this is all wetlands beyond the berm. Is that right? Am I looking at it right? Except for these little
Part of
strips.
it,
I don't
there's
think
a,
so. There's 3 sections of wetlands, it looks like.
yeah, there's one that butts up to this Elite Sports place, the metal building right there, which is retail.
Right,
And there is, to my knowledge, I'm pretty sure there's some wetlands areas on the,
but they, in
this
my
side,
concern, would they mitigate that, fill it in later on, and then if we don't require something?
so to my knowledge, this is delineated. I asked him when he was here last time.
Yeah,
He
but
said
can they go mitigate it and fill it in like others have
Up
done
in the upper
after
corner.
we've approved
Pay
something?
for that.
Towards Elite Sports. There, the buffer.
Okay.
So we do.
We could put a condition in there that,
So it's
if they did change wetlands, that they would have to come back before the board.
That's a buffer.
Yay.
Lee, is that permissible condition?
If a wetlands mitigation takes place, could you require them to come back or at least abide by the berm regulation we put in the other areas?
I can't remember the last time we've put a condition on a variance, but I think you could put a condition on it, but is the applicant here?
No, sir.
If the buffer was, so the first part is 50 foot, then there's 100. It looks like if we put the buffer at 100 feet and put a berm, it would pretty much go past this first small wetland and across the back of the other wetland. It'd only be that one big wetland that would be the issue.
Well, I'll just be the bad guy. I just point blank don't like 50 foot. Cause I'm
It's short, yeah.
Because I'm thinking back with
what is the buffer between?
Chance Rand's development in Rogers District. I mean, he did a 150-foot buffer
25
and 25-foot berm.
is a mountain.
So I could see him seeing this, and it's like, well, why didn't you give me 50 feet? But
Right.
I don't know. That's just me. I just think 50 feet period is just
But knowing the
too small.
landscape of that Elite Sports, your driveway comes through here. When you're driving to that retail business, you're gonna be able to see right through that buffer for 50 feet.
Well, one thing, I mean, if you look at the map, it makes his parking area smaller.
Show me where his parking area is. I'm not seeing that.
Can you move your laptop?
Everything within the 6-inch gravel right there he's gonna put in. This is
So-
all park-
Oh, that was wetlands right there.
No, this is all the parking area for the gravel.
It's not working yet.
That's all, that's
Okay,
all,
that-
that's
that's
all
what was
aggregated
confusing.
in
That's
this area?
6, GABC?
Okay, I'm with you now.
That's the parking
I
area.
see
This
the
area
issue.
is the parking, right? GABC, it's
Yes.
aggregate gravel base, so that's the buffer he's putting in there, but this area is parking. I mean, you could, but if you look at it, the requirement is 150 feet, right, between B and I. And so if you took that 50 and you got, and say, look, we'll approve 150 foot for there, then he just loses this parking space, this parking area. Does that make sense?
It does, but I think I'm gonna ask for a motion to either deny or table with some kind of give, in line with what Commissioner Deloach is saying. The 150, if it's gonna go away, then they need some kind of, they got room to put berm there and still have parking.
Well, what I was saying is, don't approve it. He's required to put 150 there. If you deny this variance on this side,
Right.
this 100 and this 50 would be the required buffer.
So, just deny that.
Variance.
On that side,
You're saying just,
he's requesting variances in other.
so if that's the only area we have an issue with, because others go up against our property, or there's wetlands, and there's 200 foot, not
Right.
wetlands, but there's,
So if you took this 100 and that 50, he
Yeah.
meets the requirements for B to I, which is 150 feet for heavy industrial, right? And so he effectively would lose the areas in between these two lines.
all right.
as
Tim,
parking.
are you recommending,
But we recommended approval on this,
I
right?
know, but-
So
but
I'm not
you're-
gonna
you're
change the
suggesting
recommendation,
that-
I'm just giving you an option.
I know, from what you're hearing the board saying, you're suggesting that we add the condition that there would continue to remain a 150-foot buffer on the north side. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that would be the north side, right? Kind of
Between the B and
Between the
northwestern side.
industrial and
yeah,
the B, there must be a 150 buffer.
Right.
Put that condition back in there, that's not part of the variance, and then approve it if they want to go forward.
And then approve the other
Approve it without the
variances,
variance.
elimination between industrial and the stuff that doesn't, isn't a concern, but the, keeping that 150 feet requirement.
Now, do we have to ask the constituent? I guess not, because that really is the buffer. We're just not going to give a variance on that side.
That's right.
Does that sound right, Lee? Since we're not giving a variance on that side, we don't have to ask their approval for that condition. Just remove that one buffer. Not remove it, but put it back in place on the north side.
So would there be a condition, so this would be a second reading the next meeting?
Have to be.
Yeah, then I think you're okay, because if there's a disagreement or if they don't like or propose something else, we can deal with it at the next meeting.
All right, I'm gonna see how it goes. Ask for a motion to approve the variance request, except for the property between the B3 and I would remain at 150. Is that clear?
Jamie?
Would you
It's
guys be okay with
I'm
the
not,
berm?
I'm not supporting it. I mean, I'm definitely a no. I don't
Even at the 150 though, that's the requirement, I think.
like it, because the other thing I think about is, it's a car crushing business on the entrance of our county, and it's crap. Just blatant terms. But I don't know
If
if
you
I
want to
can,
make a motion, Bill, to deny, I'll receive that
Is
first.
it allowed though? That's,
well, yeah.
that's the thing.
Well,
is
under
it-
the current conditions, it is.
But you can keep
I'd
it-
like
I
to
don't
see,
like it, but
I'd like to
it's
see a
allowed.
berm
If he
there
meets the
to protect them.
criteria,
If it- I'd ra-
otherwise.
Yes.
I'd rather give up a little bit and see a berm than I
So-
would just flat land.
There is a second component to this, which is, this expands outside his existing footprint. So after this, he would then have to get conditional use approval to operate the
The rec car.
rec car facility.
Well, he's already operating as in the back.
Correct, but this is adding addition
Adding
to
to
it,
that
so
parcel.
it now subjects, since this was put in So this is done after we've passed that conditional use ordinance. He now has to come back for that extra step for conditional use.
And
But
that-
that's on the next agenda, I think, the next planning board agenda.
So he's got several hoops still to jump through.
Yeah.
Well, and here's the other thing, and I'm really not in a bad mood today. I really am in a good mood, just so y'all know. I appreciate staff, and Tim, I appreciate you trying to find a solution for him, but I don't think it's our job to come up with his solution. I mean, if the guy can't even have representation to come up here and meet with us, that's his job, to come up with a solution. But I think our job is, we see this solution here. If it was maybe one thing, that might be different, but it seems like you said, there's a lot of hoops here, and this right here doesn't look good to me. So I think it's his job to go back to the drawing board and come back with something else.
It's actually what we asked him to do.
Yeah, and I tell you what, I would agree, in another city where I've worked, if you didn't show up for something controversial, it was denied automatically, because you ought to at least come and
Fight your case.
fight your case and hear
I'm
face
with you.
this in the eye, tell us how you can fix issues and concerns. So, Jamie, I'm going to entertain a motion from you first, and we'll see if we can get a second in support.
All right, I'll make a motion to deny the request.
Second.
There's a motion to deny by Mr. Deloach, second by Mr. Floyd. All in favor say aye to deny. Any opposed denial? Hearing none, it is unanimously denied. You make a note. Okay, so we don't need a second reading for that. Go to new business. Item number 11, new business. Item number 1 is consideration to approve intergovernmental agreement to conduct municipal elections for the city of Guyton.
Good evening, Allison Bruton, purchasing agent. The City of Guyton has requested that the Effingham County Board of Elections conduct their municipal election for this year. The agreement also outlines how the city will reimburse the county for the regular time and overtime for personnel and election expenses. Staff recommends alternative 1.
Okay, any questions or discussion?
Have we had any talks with Board of Elections, or I talked with Mr. Tommy earlier this week, and he didn't bring this up, so I figured that
Well,
everybody's fine.
I mean, I think, as a general rule, they prefer not to do the municipal elections, but it's kind of the same agreement that we had from the previous time we did it.
Yeah.
So we're just kind of
Okay.
moving forward with that.
I'll make a motion if you want a motion.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll make a motion to approve alternative 1.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Deloach, second Mr. Loper to approve alternative 1. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Hearing none, it passes unanimously. Item number 2, consideration to approve a letter referencing updated rates for services for the Effingham County Coroner's Office.
Yes, sir. So in 2006, Effingham County approved a rate scale in which funeral homes would be paid for rendering certain services. And these rates have not been changed since 2006. One of the local funeral homes did approach Mr. Exley to request that these rates be reevaluated. And that breakdown is on your staff report. The staff recommends alternative 1.
How much of an increase was it?
So not too bad. It went from 175 to 250 for one of the fees, $50 to $75 for storage.
And I saw in the old one, it was different prices for different cities. Is that going away?
Yes. So the GBI in
Some of them
Savannah is no
more.
longer there. Yeah. If Mr. Exley's here to answer any other questions, but if transportation is needed outside of the GBI location that is in Pooler, I believe, we use a third party for that because they're better equipped for longer transportation. But this is all we use the funeral homes for now.
Okay, I just thought some of them were like $375 or $350 in the past, and like we'd gone down, but we've covered that.
Yes. Yes, sir.
You want to answer that question? I just want to make sure, because I assumed we were going up. That's why I asked the percentage we were getting out of it, and I saw some prices went down.
Right. Okay, what has happened, when I started into this many years ago, there were 8 labs around the state. We're down to 2.5. Pooler being one, we're fortunate to have that close. One being Decatur, and the other one halftime is Macon. So we're not traveling to Moultrie, to Rome, to all these other places anymore. That's not happening. Like I said, the funeral homes, when they're doing this for us, they're not even making expenses right now from way back when. We had considered changing this one time before. The lab in Pooler was moved from Mohawk. That saved them about half the time it took them to go into Pooler rather than go into Mohawk. So that saved them a considerable amount of time and expense and everything. So we kind of backed out of it at that time, but now gas is up, everything, time, expenses, so we would recommend this to be approved.
We don't want it to cost us anything.
Yes.
I appreciate it. Thank you, Mr. Exton.
Yes.
You have a motion to approve alternative one?
Make a motion to approve alternative one.
Second.
Motion, Mr. Burdette, second, Mr. Loper, to approve alternative one. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Hearing none, it passes unanimously. Item number 3 under new business, consideration to approve an engagement letter with Burr and Foreman LLP to provide legal services related to economic development and water and sewer matters.
Yes, sir. So staff is requesting approval of this, as you said, for economic development and water and sewer matters. This has been reviewed by the county attorney, and staff recommends alternative one.
Any question, discussion, or motion for alternative one?
I'll make a motion to approve alternative one.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Deloach, second by Mr. Floyd for alternative one. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Hearing none, it passes unanimously. Item number 4, consideration to approve a resolution of surplus. This is number 23-001, consisting of various items from multiple departments.
Yes, sir. So this resolution does include various pieces of furniture that have accumulated over the years from various departments, as well as vehicles and a generator. Staff recommends alternative one.
How you don't get rid of that stuff? You don't have where you can bid on them, or how you do this, or you don't turn them over to, like they have at the fair a couple times a year?
So the vehicles will go and be auctioned off. We're doing that through Enterprise now with the fleet program. The furniture I will need to speak to Mr. Burns about for the local auction. He says he typically doesn't do furniture, so once I have a more in-depth conversation with him about that, we'll determine how we get rid of a lot of the furniture. Stuff that's damaged, I'm sure we can probably trash, but I know there's a ton of furniture, so we'll just have to evaluate. I plan on working with Fred Ryan on that to make sure we do that the right way.
And some of those vehicles, by the way, are totaled.
Yes, yes, some of them are
And so some of them
totals.
won't be auctioned off. They'll just be,
Picked up by the insurance company.
yeah.
Oh, they've already paid us for them, so they just pick them up.
Mhm.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve alternative one.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Deloach, second by Mr. Loper to approve alternative one. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Hearing none, it passes unanimously. Item number 5, consideration to approve a task order with Thompson and Hutton for professional consulting services for program management.
Yes, sir. So staff did request this proposal from Thomas and Hutton to assist with program management in regards to capital projects. Included in this scope is a workshop with staff to develop an overall strategy for this group of projects. With the absence of a county engineer on staff, they will also perform construction observation in the capacity as the county's representative. This task order does include updated rates from what was previously approved in the IDC agreement we have with them. And those rates will be incorporated in the amendment that we have on one of the upcoming agendas we'll have for the renewal.
And Tim, this is what's going to help you out
Yes,
a
so
lot
this is,
with project management.
yeah, this is program management for the horizontal infrastructure projects, which are roads and water and sewer. So they're gonna, kind of assist being the overseers of the project managers.
And we include the treatment facility in the horizontal
Yes.
infrastructure.
Yeah, anything related to water, sewer, and roads.
Well, I think this is good to get this in place
Absolutely. We were talking about
moving
today,
forward.
just a little bit, I've asked Tim to, based on our workshop and what we hear from us, to come up with the 10 priorities that we're gonna be working on as a management in county, and who's gonna be over certain priorities, so we know who to kick. You wanna say anything, Ryan?
Not to stop the progress, it sounded like it was happening there, but I just wanted to introduce.
Yeah, go ahead.
much trouble as people get in. Ryan Thompson, Thomas Nutton. I just wanted to introduce Lauren Davenport. She will be our day in, day out face for Thomas and Hutton to the county. She will not have all the solutions. She'll come back when we discuss projects. She'll come back to the folks that are experts in the different fields, and then we'll develop whatever solutions or assistance we need to give. So, as Tim said, our first scope, since this is the first time we're doing this with the county, and it's a bit of a different approach, but it's an approach a lot of communities are taking, is to really take it that deep dive and figure out where do you actually need us the most right now, so we can make sure we help the most. So,
Yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, looking forward to that. Any other questions, discussion? I think it's a great move.
I'll make a motion to approve alternative one.
Second.
Motion, Mr. Deloach, second by Mr. Forrest Floyd to approve alternative one. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Hearing none, it passes unanimously. Item number 6, consideration to approve change order 1 for Pond and Company for design and construction management services of a facility renovation package.
Yes, sir. So the task order was awarded to Pond for a renovation package for several different locations. We did request this change order to add additional work to the EMS station and to also add the Clio Fire Station and Clio Community Center as well. Staff recommends alternative one.
Okay, any questions or discussion for Allison?
Make a motion to approve alternative one.
Second.
Motion, Mr. Deloach, second, Mr. Floyd for alternative 1. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Hearing none, it passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Item number 7, consideration to approve to amend Part 2, Chapter 74 of Traffic, Section 74.8. This is designating truck routes for Effingham County Code of Ordinance.
Good evening, Chelsea Fernald, planner. Coming out of the previous meetings that you guys have had, there were concerns for the exception of trucks being able to go on roads that are not designated truck routes for their residents, the driver's residence with the tractor and trailer and chassis attached. So what this amendment to this ordinance does is it allows for the bobtail truck with just the tractor, no trailer and or chassis attached, to go just from the driver's residence to be parked and then to their place of business, so that there's
Is this a clarification or a change?
No, this is a change, and so, you know, as you remember, when we did the truck routes, we developed it from scratch. I don't know anyone who's kind of done it by the way we've done it, and so we listened to feedback and we made some exceptions for needs, and we just didn't think that people were going to bring their trailer back home with them, and so we just want to make that exception, eliminate that exception. You can bring your the rig, but not the trailer.
Well, that's why I asked, was it
home.
clarification or a change? Because if someone understood that was the ordinance and they've been bringing it, are they grandfathered, or is it gonna automatically, they gotta stop bringing their
No,
trailer
that,
home?
It's to be the ordinances and just to give you a little background and the difference, you know, when you've got a truck, what we tried to do is allow guys that if this is their livelihood, a way to go home in the afternoon.
Yeah, and I get that.
But when you pull a trailer, all of a sudden your 18,500 pound truck becomes an 80,000 to 90,000 pound vehicle on a neighborhood street. The dynamic changes dramatically.
So it really is a clarification of what we intended.
Right, we
in the original- That's what I'm saying.
intended to be able to
So
give them.
There's nobody grandfathered.
that's right.
If they've got a
And-
trailer, they've got to find a place to park it now.
Right, and I like to bring
intended
up,
for the trailer
it's
to come on
always
the
been
roads.
illegal under state law,
Okay.
right? But state law enforces via weight, so clearly having a tractor and trailer is going to exceed the weight requirements of a county road. We do ours based on class because we don't have access to scales, and so this just clarifies it.
Gotcha.
Is this gonna be a code enforcement issue or a law enforcement issue?
It's
How
still
we
law
doing?
enforcement, it's moving vehicle. And so if they're parked at home, we can't ticket them. But it comes in a case where they actually, our truck route is based on the moving vehicle being pulled over, and that would be, our code enforcement is not empowered to do that. It would be the sheriff's office.
Even when they're parked at home, it'd still be,
Well, I think what could be the case there is that you just kind of issue them a warning because you
Say, hey, by
clearly,
the
it
way.
didn't fly there. And just give them a warning on that, but they have to be caught on the road to enforce this ordinance.
And that'd be good if they got a couple of warnings and then deputy could show up the next morning when they try to go to work and pull the trailer out and they can ticket them then after a couple of warnings.
and I've been getting a lot of complaints, and I don't get a lot of them, but usually it's repeat offenders doing the same thing over and over on a very small road. And it's
See,
just
I'm
gonna
getting complaints on one of our newly resurfaced ash roads. The community's really upset because the guy's bringing the trailer home every day.
It's a good change. I just want to make sure it's communicated well. Motion to approve alternative one.
Make a motion to approve alternative one.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Burdette, second by Mr. Floyd to approve alternative one. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Hearing none, it passes unanimously. Item number 8, consideration to approve an agreement to purchase real estate for the acquisition of 750 plus or minus square feet of a construction and maintenance easement located off of Freedom Trail.
Angela Stanley, project manager. This is in regards to Freedom Trail. We need to get back in there and finish the drainage issue that's going on and fix the driveway and the roadway. So in order to do that, we need to purchase that 750 minus plus square feet. And we recommend alternative one.
Question, discussion, and motion for alternative one.
Make a motion to approve alternative one.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Burdette, second by Mr. Deloach for alternative one. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Hearing none, it passes unanimously. Item number 9, Mr. Barnes, consideration to approve resolution 23-022 to amend the fiscal year 2023 budget.
Good afternoon, Mark Barnes, Finance Director. Staff is requesting approval of this amendment for the fiscal year 2023 budget. This amendment allocates funding for the approved repairs to the radio tower lighting system and for the boiler system work that's going on at the jail. Staff recommends alternative number 1 to approve the budget amendment.
And the funding is from the fund balance, or?
This one is coming from the sales tax has been coming in higher than budgeted,
Okay, very
so it's
good.
made up from that.
Do you have a question, discussion, and motion for alternative one?
Make a motion to approve alternate number 1.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Loper, second by Mr. Deloach for alternative one. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Hearing none, it passes unanimously.
Thank you.
All righty, planning board is gonna meet in exactly 17 minutes. Do we want to do staff reports now, or do you want to take a break? Because if you don't, you won't have a break for another hour. So, because a planning board probably take about an hour, I guess. What'd you rather do? Push on through?
How long is it gonna take?
I don't, I mean, unless, I don't have much to report simply because we're coming off of the retreat.
Yeah.
And so I will say that there has been some issues with regards to Stafford Shire. We tried to address them temporarily as best we can, and that we've been in communication with the developer to move forward with the capital project there for a permanent solution. Other than that, we are good to go. I should be able to get you a recap on the items that mentioned in the retreat, to also include the top 10 priorities to work from there.
Very good. Anything else from any other staff? Madam Clerk?
No, sir.
Well, that didn't take long. Anything from the Board of Commissioners?
Yeah, I got a couple things.
Okay, go ahead.
Number one, if y'all have any residents in District 3 that's contacting y'all about conditions of roads, Springfield, Egypt, Chester Thomas, Elbert Arnsdorf Loop, Union Springs, I'm aware weather has not been so friendly to District 3 here in the last 30 days with the freeze we had in December, so we've had a couple of ash roads that have just pretty much disintegrated. We're putting material on there to keep the ash off of the residents' cars. We are going to get our in-house crew out there to put a surface on there, but immediately we had to put dirt on there. That's the quickest thing we could do. And So if y'all hear from anybody, just know I'm on it, and we're working through it. The other thing I just wanted y'all to be aware of is about 2 weeks ago, Ben Wall with Atlantic Waste, Mallory, one of his employees reached out to me and just asked if I would give them a letter of recommendation for their services on curbside pickup. They're going after another contract. At a district ACCG meeting, I actually talked to, it's actually Burke County, I talked to the county manager and their chairman, and they said they knew that Atlantic Waste dealt with us, and I told them that they've done a great job, and we're very happy with them. So I just wanted y'all to be aware that, I mean, it's not on behalf of the board, it's from me, but it's just letter of recommendation for them to add in their packet, and that's it. That's all I got.
I would second that with Atlantic, for sure.
I'm okay to go.
I got a couple things,
Okay, go ahead.
just really informational more than anything. McCall Park, I keep getting rave reviews. People love it. And thank you guys
It's
for.
packed. I've
It's
been-
packed
I've
all the
noticed it's
time.
cows
Can't wait to
there all
get
the
some
time.
lights out there. We discussed that on the retreat. I did have somebody reach out that lives nearby, and they're often, the trash receptacles get filled up pretty quickly, and if we could add a few extra ones.
Okay.
And then the dog stations probably needs a little more attention.
Okay, for same reason?
Same
Filling
type
up.
of reason. Sometimes the bags are missing or whatever, but that,
Okay.
you know, just everybody's really appreciative of that, and I am too. The only other thing was, I had a meeting at an HOA, at Park West, and, meeting went very well, good people out there. And they mentioned something, and this may be something for Clint, about power grid attacks. I don't know how, if that's a big deal or not, but somebody's, I guess, from other countries attacking some of our power grids, knocked about 45,000 people out. And just asked if we had anything in place to do that. Now, I don't know much about that, but.
Georgia Power's responsibility
Well,
there.
Yeah.
Well, they stopped the possible plot this week, or end of last week, somebody here.
Oh,
trying to-
really?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
But I don't
Well,
know if we had something that
extremist
went
group
beyond
some
Georgia
kind.
Power, or is that something we'd?
Well, that's one thing we can take in consideration. We're in the process of updating our hazard mitigation plan. We could look for ways to make sure that that's on the radar as well. That process is, we just recently had a kickoff about 30 days ago on that.
That's all I got.
I don't know anything.
All right,
Got about 10 minutes or so.
yeah, all right. Well, why don't we have no executive session minutes, so we'll take a 10-minute break.
Mr. Chairman, can I just bring one thing? I see we've got someone in the audience, and I just want to kind of announce while she's here. Is it Ms. Rita? Is that right? Yeah. Okay. So when we were doing one of our workshops, and I think it had to do with the planning, master planning portion of it, there was kind of this request that the county needs to think towards greenways and greenways and creating a system here.
Remember,
And so we took that feedback and applied for a grant with the help of Thomas and Hutton, who left. Oh, there they are. Good. They're here. And we got notified last week that the Safe Streets for All federal grant was awarded to the county in the amount of $200,000 to create a greenways and pedestrian master plan. And I will tell you, this wasn't on our radar. This wasn't on our radar until Miss Rita brought it up. So I
Participation
saw
makes
her
a
in the
difference.
audience, and I felt I'd bring that up.
Thank you so much. Thank y'all. Thank you. And long way to go. A lot
Yeah.
of things to do, but that's a
Owe
good
Miss
start.
Rita lunch, for sure. We owe Miss Rita a lunch, for sure.
yeah, so we owe you lunch. But, you know, and not only that, it's impacted the master planning of our parks and recreation, as well as some things that we are looking to do around the river. So we got some things there we're looking to do as well, but we can't discuss that till we secure some things. But so you brought some great things to our attention. Anything else?
No, that's it.
All right, let's take a quick recess and use the restroom, whatever you want to do, get something to drink. And then we'll be back here at 6 o'clock for all those folks who have come for planning session. We can't start till 6, so we can go ahead and start. We're gonna come back to order for our planning board, and we're waiting on our attorney, but he'll be back in just a little bit. We can go ahead and start the information side of it. Then if we have questions, we can run it by him when he returns. The first item on the planning board of public hearings tonight is the planning board has recommended approving an application by Skylar Lewis as agent for Scott A. Lewis to rezone 1 of 10 acres located off of Sand Hill Road from AR1 to AR2 to allow for the creation of a home site, map number 300, parcel number 8B in the 5th District.
Yes, sir. So this is a traditional AR1 to AR2 zoning, whereas they are cutting out a home site for a family member. Because the proposed home site is less than 5 acres, it needs to be rezoned to AR2.
All right, we'll open a public hearing and see if there's anyone tonight speaking in favor of this rezoning that would like to speak. Anyone speaking in objection to this request for rezoning? For or against? Seeing no one coming forward, I'll close the public hearing and entertain a discussion or a motion from the board.
I'll make a motion that we approve with planning board and staff recommendations.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Floyd, second by Mr. Loper. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Hearing none, it passes unanimously. They both,
But
they
we still
did
say aye.
simultaneously. I try to swap it when I hear simultaneous ones. If I just use the one they might think I have something against them. So I try to swap it back and forth.
Maybe you do.
Item number 2, consideration to approve the second reading of an application by Skylar Lewis as agent for Scott A. Lewis to rezone 1 of 10 acres located off of Sand Hill Road from AR1 to AR2 to allow for the creation of a home site, map number 300, parcel number 8B in the 1st District. Motion to approve second reading.
Make a motion to approve the second reading.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Floyd, second by Mr. Burdette. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Hearing none, the second reading passes unanimously. Item number 3, under planning board hearings, or planning hearings tonight, the planning board has recommended approving an application by Cynthia and Charles Drone for a variance from section 6.2.12, parenthesis 1, located at 3154 Midland Road to waive the restrictions that a private unpaved road may only serve 3 lots. Zone R1, this is map number 374, and map number, in parcel 16 in the 1st District. Open a public hearing, we'll start with our staff.
Yes. The applicant wishes to carve out a 1-acre home site. In order to do that, that would add to a private unpaved road that is currently, to get all the way down to Midland Road, serving 7 lots. There is some hardship there in that any sort of alternative access is encumbered by wetlands and also PD zoning right up here. Staff is recommending approval.
Okay. We'll open a public hearing. Anyone tonight speaking in favor of this variance request? If you'd like to speak to the board. Anyone tonight speaking in objection to this variance request? See no one coming forward, I'll close the public hearing, entertain a motion from the board.
I'm gonna make a motion to approve with planning board and staff recommendation. I noticed there were some conditions here, so those will be included.
Second.
All right, a motion is from Mr. Floyd, second Mr. Burdette, to approve with planning board and staff's recommendations to include the conditions that's in the agenda. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Hearing none, it passes unanimously. Second reading. The consideration to approve the second reading of an application by Cynthia and Charles Drone for a variance located from section, a variance from section 6.2.12, parenthesis 1, located at 3154 Millen Road to waive the restriction for that a private road, unpaved road, may only serve 3 lots. Zone R1, map number 374, parcel number 16, the 1st District. Motion to approve second reading.
Make a motion to approve the second reading.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Floyd, second by Mr. Burdette to approve the second reading. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Hearing none, it passes unanimously. Item number 5 under public hearings. The planning board recommends approving an application by Marina Lindblom for a conditional use for a rural business located at 183 Deerfield Road West. This is zone AR1, map number 377A, parcel number 6C in the 1st District. Open a public hearing, hear from our staff first.
So a bit of backstory disclosure. This application comes to us as a result of a code enforcement investigation, which was a report of a business being run without a business license. The complaint had nothing to do with the actual activity, just that the business did exist. The applicant currently holds a valid home occupation license for a mobile piano tuning and repair business. They were told by prior staff that they could incorporate underneath that license Kinder Music, which is a music enrichment program for accompanied young children. So they did not pursue until the same complainant contacted code enforcement again. So at this time, what they would like to do is to come into compliance with the Kinder Music business, which they have been operating since they lived in the home. They meet all the criteria of the rural business. They are fulfilling an underserved need within the community. They have frontage, minimum acreage. The operating hours are daylight, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and every other Saturday. And they are operating out of a section of their home that is less than 1,000 square feet. Staff is recommending approval.
With 2
Can I ask,
conditions.
I want to clarify, they did have a business license to operate? They had permission?
They received verbal permission, but no process was followed, nor was it ever noted in their business license. They currently have a home occupation license for the mobile piano tuning and repair, not for the Kinder Music, which happens on site with customers.
Okay.
Okay. We already opened a public hearing. Anyone tonight wanting to speak in favor of this rural business? Conditional
favor.
use? In favor of it? Want to come? You want to speak?
Yes, sir.
If you can come to the microphone, state your name and share.
Michael Stewart.
Yes, sir.
I live across the street from the Limblums at 190 West Deerfield Road. And I have lived there since they moved in. And my driveway's less than 30, 35 feet from theirs. I have no issue with it.
Okay.
These people that come to Kinder Music, they come, they drop off their toddlers, they go in, they come out with their toddlers and they leave. Everybody drives respectfully. And I think it's a great thing what they're doing with these kids, and no issues.
Very good. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Anyone tonight speaking in opposition to this conditional use for rural business? Anyone speaking in opposition? Seeing no one coming forward, I'll close the public hearing, entertain a motion from the board.
There's been no code enforcement issues other than that one call just to find out if there was a business or not? There's not a legitimate complaint?
No, all of the complaints were found to be baseless with the exception of inappropriate licensing for the Kinder Music.
Okay, and they're trying to comply. All right, with that, I'm going to make a motion that we approve alternative 1.
With the 2 conditions that.
With the conditions, yes, as
Okay.
listed.
Motion for alternative 1 with the conditions listed there by Mr. Floyd, second by Mr. Loper. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Hearing none, it passes unanimously. So we'll proceed with the second reading. Consideration to approve the second reading of an application by Marina Lindblom for a conditional use for a rural business located at 183 Deerfield Road West, zone AR1, map number 377A, parcel number 6C in the 1st District. Motion to approve the second reading?
Make a motion to approve the second reading.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Floyd, second Mr. Burdette to approve the second reading. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Hearing none, it passes unanimously. Next item of public hearing is the planning board recommends approving an application by Johnny E. Brannon to rezone 4.5 acres located at 794 Keith Road from AR1 to AR2 to allow for the creation of a home site, map number 270, parcel number 28 in the 3rd District.
The applicant wishes to divide his parcel effectively in half. Neither newly created lot will meet the 5-acre threshold for AR1, so the entirety must be rezoned. Staff is recommending approval.
Okay, we'll open a public hearing to see if anyone is speaking in favor or against this rezoning from AR1 to AR2. Anyone in favor to start with that would like to speak? Anyone speaking in opposition to this rezoning that would like the board to hear you? Seeing no one coming forward, we'll close the public hearing, entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve with staff and planning board recommendations.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Deloach, second by Mr. Loper to approve with staff and planning board recommendations. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Hearing none, it passes unanimously. So we'll move with the second reading. Consideration to approve the second reading of an application by Johnny E. Brannon to rezone 4.5 acres located at 749 Keith Road from AR1 to AR2 to allow for the creation of a home site, map number 270, parcel number 28 in the 3rd District.
Make a motion to approve the second reading.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Deloach, second by Mr. Burdette to approve the second reading. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Hearing none, it passes unanimously. Public hearing number 9, the planning board.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, sir.
I'm Johnny Brandon.
Can you get the microphone if you got a question? That's all right.
I don't quite understand, whenever, now this stuff's been approved, how do we go about getting the plat signed and whatever? So,
Go by and see her and she can,
do you get it tonight, or whenever?
Come see me in the morning, please.
first thing in the morning.
And in the morning? Okay, that's what I want to know.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
Y'all ready?
Item number 9, the planning board recommends approving an application by Robert Dollar and Joanne Mendoza Dollar to rezone 5 acres located at 107 Harmony Drive from AR1 to AR2 to allow for the creation of a home site, map number 316, parcel number 7 in the 3rd District. Open a public hearing and we'll hear from our staff first.
This request to zone to AR2 to create a home site for a family member is slightly irregular, and staff has recommended denial simply based on the fact that it is within a subdivision comprised of compliant AR1 lots. No subdivision has been done within the subdivision to date, and because they are all conforming AR1 lots, it would create a great discrepancy in size between the existing lots and in the newly created lots.
Okay. We're in a public hearing. Is there anyone tonight that would like to speak to the board requesting favor for this?
Hello, I'm Robert. The main reason we want to divide this 5 acres is for my cousin. She's a single mom and wants to be able to leave something for her child in the future. We have children, we want to leave something for our children in the future. But we all know that when elders leave us, it brings out the ugly in family members. So that's the big reason for wanting to be able to divide it so that this is for her kids, this is for my kids. Other than that, it really doesn't make a difference to me. We just don't want to have the family feuds and arguments in the future. Because I know I've been there and it's not fun.
Can I ask you a personal question? Just, sorry about this board. I used to know a Joseph Dollar. Are you related to Joseph Dollar?
Could be. I really don't know.
I just lost track, and I just want to see if you can
I
tell
really
me.
don't know. Could be.
I'd love to be able to get in touch with if that was him, but anyway, never mind that. Okay.
Most of the dollars that I'm related to, they were in northern Florida.
Okay,
So,
I appreciate
I mean,
that.
anything's possible.
yeah, no problem. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
sir. Anyone else speaking in favor of this tonight that would like to speak? Anyone speaking in opposition to this rezoning request? Hearing no one, I'll close the public hearing and probably need some discussion from the board to consider this since staff is recommending denial. It's interesting that nobody's speaking in opposition to this, because I would think the character of that area I appreciate what you're trying to do, but I would think that when you've got these ones, which are 5 acres or more, and you got several of them, it's kind of set a character for that neighborhood. And then you go and get a 1 acre tract, it seems like it's going against the zoning in that area.
But it's to rezone 5 acres.
Rezone 1 acre out of 5, right?
The entirety would have to then be rezoned.
Right, the whole entirety would have to be rezoned because they're both gonna be R2 now, the 4 acre tract and the 1 acre, but you're not breaking it out 50-50, you're breaking it out like an acre and 4 acres.
Is there, if there's an HOA or anything involved, or covenants, or?
Not in that R2, I wouldn't think. No, R1.
There were some
R2.
5 acre developments back before,
I
years and years
did-
ago, but.
Excuse me, sorry. I did actually find the original covenants. There wasn't one time an HOA. The original
Was?
covenants does not prohibit re-subdivision. That was from 1992, though.
The lot size minimums or anything like that?
There's no mention of it.
No. That would be my only.
I'm just
I can kinda
surprised
see
that the neighbors have not put any objection.
I mean, somebody could do this and then everybody else follow suit, and all of a sudden you got a.
Right, well, that's what I was thinking, back off Sharehouse Road, we had an area where over 5 acre lots, if, in the there was never an HOA, but that was in the covenants, that's been 25 years ago. But if everybody, when they started dividing them up into 2.5 acre lots, it would double that. And that wasn't the intention when it was developed, but nobody that I know even lived back there when it was first developed either, so.
Is that a paved road? Huh? Not a paved road?
No, sir.
I think you're going, once again, let the board, your discretion, but I think we might be going down the wrong road, putting more lots on an unpaved road. If everybody did this,
I can see the problem there too.
that's gonna create a real issue. But that's my thoughts. Any other discussion?
I'll make a motion.
Okay,
Based on the fact that everything else is 5 acres in that area, and it is an unpaved road, I think it would be best to deny this request, so I'll make a motion to deny.
Second.
we have a motion, Mr. Deloach, second by Mr. Burdette to deny the request. All in favor say aye of denial.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Hearing none, it passes unanimously that it's denied. Appreciate what you're trying to do, but I think for the road and the character of that area, even though there's no constituents here tonight speaking, we need to represent them as well. Hope it works out good with your family when the time comes.
We've actually had some precedents on another one. I remember, I think last year, a similar situation where trying to do something uncharacteristic of the neighborhood.
area,
And we
yeah.
denied that one as well. So it's not, we're not doing something new.
Sure, come to Mike though if you want to ask a question.
So when the planning board met, they mentioned.
Say your name for the record.
Lindsay, I'm Lindsay. I would be the person that would be getting the 1 acre if we
Okay.
were able to rezone it. We're separating it for purposes of the kids later in the future, but when the planning board put it through as a motion for approval, it was with the stipulation that there were no further subdivisions later.
Of your property.
Of your parcel, but not the rest of the land. See, all those parcels around it may want to follow suit. That becomes it's a major subdivision. We're going to require some road improvements to be able to do that because we don't want to accept a road. Most times when the people develop a property, they have to give us a road built to county standards, then we'll maintain it. But we don't want to put that on the constituents who don't live there.
So then if it came to that, wouldn't we get together as Harmony Acres and establish that type of rule for the group?
Yeah, you could do a special tax district and tax it and do the road, but there's a lot of folks on that road that it would put a lot of,
Appreciate the changes that we've already made to the property.
huh?
That appreciate the changes we've already made to the property, and we made what our wishes were known. When the sign was up, while working out at the property, spoke with them. Nobody had any complaints.
Yeah.
You can have 2 residents on can't you have 2 houses on the piece of property? If
But
it's
then,
the-
so later, if I were to pass away, then
how would that be divided for my child? Because I have one child.
You have to both people have to own the property. That's a legal question. For now, it has been denied. I think you have to look at another avenue if you want to you can put two houses, and there's a legal way to do that, probably to protect both parties. But you have to probably get with an attorney or real estate, somebody that can help you with that.
All right, thank you.
All right, there is no second reading for item number 10, so we go to item number 11. The planning board recommends approving an application by Fletcher Derrick Seconder to rezone 6.215 of 18.31 acres located at Fletcher Lane in Morgan Circle from AR1 to AR2 to allow for the recombination and re-subdivision of a parcel number 382, map number 382, parcel number 14, 16, and 17 in the 3rd District.
The applicant here wishes to divide or reconfigure estate property in a manner where he's just recombining 3 parcels. That changes the shape but retains the number of parcels and also the approximate size. 2 of them will not meet the 5-acre threshold for AR1, so it must be rezoned. Staff is recommending approval.
Go back to that picture you just had. The small little, oh, it's not a triangle, I got you. So all these 3 lots are are 5 acres or more?
No, currently,
No, they could be 1 acre or more, is that right?
for AR2, yes, sir.
Okay,
3 little ones and 2 big ones.
yeah, but they all comply with AR2.
This one across the street is actually part of the larger one over here. It's just separated by Morgan Circle Road.
Gotcha. Okay, so we're in a public hearing. Anyone tonight speaking in favor of this rezoning request? Or anyone speaking in opposition to this rezoning request that would like to speak? Seeing no one coming forward, we'll close the public hearing, entertain discussion or a motion by the board.
I'll make a motion to approve with staff and planning board recommendations.
Motion by Mr. Deloach, second Mr. Loper to approve with staff and planning board recommendations. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Hearing none, it passes unanimously. Second reading is consideration to approve the second reading of an application by Fletcher Derrick Seconder to rezone 6.215 of 18.31 acres located at Fletcher Lane in Morgan Circle from AR1 to AR2 to allow for the recombination and re-subdivision of parcels map number 382, parcel 14, 16, and 17 in the 3rd District. Motion to approve second reading.
Make a motion to approve the second reading.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Lowe, second by Mr. Loper to approve the second reading. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Hearing none, it passes unanimously. Item 13, under public hearings, the planning board recommends approving an application by Julia M. Mingeldorf and George Thomas Mingeldorf to rezone 5 acres located at 154 Cherokee Hills Road from AR1 to AR2 to allow for the creation of a home site, map number 401A, parcel number 2 in the 3rd District. Open a public hearing and start with our staff.
This application is very similar to the Harmony Acres Estates one. It is within a AR1 subdivision, which is comprised of conforming AR1 lots. This one is slightly different in that there is some surrounding AR2. There is a subdivision next to it with slightly smaller lots, and the applicant does propose a more equal division of the property. But because the proposed division is inconsistent with the subdivision and no other lots have been subdivided within Cherokee Hills, staff is recommending denial.
Okay. Anyone tonight speaking in favor of this rezoning request from AR1 to AR2? Anyone speaking in opposition to this rezoning request? Seeing no one, I'll close the public hearing. So staff is recommending denial?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Similar questions that you had earlier, I think, Mr. Floyd, about the, any covenants or anything in this area that we need to be aware of?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
In Cherokee Hills, we're actually doing work on that road as well.
Is it a
We got
dirt
some-
road as well?
It's a dirt road as well.
Okay. Any other discussion? The staff is recommending denial, which will be alternative two. Do I have a motion for alternative two?
Based on the fact of the previous denial that I recommended, with the lots being similar in size and not changing the integrity of the community, I'm going to deny this request. So alternative two.
Motion by Mr. Loach for alternative two. Do you have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Loper. And I'll add, I think you would add as well, not to the motion, but probably considering the dirt road that it's on as well.
Yes.
So all in favor of denial, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed to denying, say no. And hearing no opposals to the denial, item number two to deny is approved. Alternative two is approved. So we have no need for the second reading tonight. Item number 15, under public hearings, the planning board recommends denying an application by Jesse Edwards to rezone 6 acres located at 400 Hayden Lake Road from AR1 to AR2 to allow for the creation of a home site, map number 456, parcel number 3 in the 3rd district.
The next application after this will be a variance to add an additional lot to a private unpaved road by the same applicant. He requests to cut out a home site for an immediate family member on the property. Staff cannot support the variance because Haddon Lake Road currently as an unpaved private road has 23 properties with frontage on it. So therefore, we also recommend denial on the rezoning.
Okay, I see why you're jumping down to 17 now. Okay. I need to catch my computer up. Give me 1 second. All right, we'll open a public hearing. Anyone tonight speaking in favor of this rezoning request from AR1 to AR2?
I'm Jesse Edwards.
Okay.
The reason I was speaking in favor of it is, I just wanted to cut out 2 acres for my brother-in-law, so him and his wife can live close to us. He has 2 small boys, and then me and my wife, we also have 2 small boys, and I think they're about a year and a half apart in age, and we just want our family to grow up together. There's no covenant in our neighborhood or whatever, I guess you could call it a neighborhood, but there's no written covenant that I've been known. I don't think there would be a negative impact on this, like on the road itself, because everybody pitches in to take care of the road. You know, everybody pitches in money. You know, we have a guy that lives down our road that actually scrapes the road for us. You know, we give him money a couple times a year. Everybody does that lives down the road to take care of it. Another thing was, there's also already a lot down there that's zoned AR2. I think it's less than 4 acres. So it really, I mean, I know it's just 1 lot compared to 22, but it's still 1 lot down there that's already zoned AR2. So it wouldn't be something new. And then, you know, I'm really just doing this to help my brother-in-law out. I mean, he really doesn't have any family. You know, both his parents were taken away from him when he was 22 years old. And the really only people, he just has us, that's it.
Can you go back to the previous picture? So you got 456-4 and 456-3. Is that one tract now that you're subdividing, or is this just 456-3 that you're dividing?
It's just 456-3.
So that skinny lot is not the new lot, that's the lot you want to divide?
Correct.
The blue area there, you want to divide that?
Yes, correct. And this is sort of this is the sketch of what they propose to do, is the 2 acres towards the back.
That's 2 acres out of 6, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there'd be an easement going to the back of the lot.
Yes, correct.
What's the road that access a dirt road?
Yeah, had lakes, so dirt road.
Is there a neighborhood established there, or is it just more or less parcels?
It's not a neighborhood.
Not a neighborhood.
There's not much behind it. It's a bunch of acreage behind it.
There's some timber tracks in there.
Yeah.
Some timber companies own property on there.
I'm trying to see the character of the neighborhood, and I don't see what I saw on the other two. That's, maybe I'm not looking at it right, but I don't see in the different size lots, I don't see the character of like,
There's a bunch of people live on that road.
yeah.
A bunch of
Dirt
different
road.
parcel splits, different sizes, different shapes.
That's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at part, I know it's a dirt road, but I'm looking at before you have all these 5 acre tracts, it looks a nice, neat subdivision, then you take out 1 acre, but this one, I don't know, I just don't see that you got a bunch of acres, you got 6 acres, looks like you may have 5 acres in some places. I don't know if it would be and no one tonight was speaking in opposition, so I don't know. Oh, you hadn't asked that yet?
Yeah, you hadn't
Oh,
asked
I'm
that
sorry,
yet.
I thought I did.
You got it.
Okay, I was wondering all the opposition was tonight. I apologize.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so. if you speak up-
Jason Winkler,
Yeah.
630 Haddon Lake Road.
Uh-huh.
I'm speaking on behalf of neighbors over here.
Okay.
We're opposing this because we are a one-lane private dirt road, and we don't want to see other people subdividing their land and having us loaded down because, like I said, we're a single-lane dirt road. There's a lot of spots you can't even pass with 2 cars. Trash and mail gets took to the end of the road. You know, I'm 1.1 miles down the road myself.
No, I hear you. I apologize for not, forget I hadn't always.
Just
done
waiting
everything
for
to do.
waiting for my opportunity.
I
that's all.
appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Well, that's good that you showed up. It's not quite like the other neighborhoods to me, but it does have that size and is a dirt road, so I appreciate you speaking up. And
Yes,
letting me know the neighbors are not in favor. Thank you.
Could I ask a question?
Sure.
Are you guys not in favor because of just the extra traffic, or is?
Yes, sir.
it just-
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, the road is a,
Road down there, Sandbelly Road.
yes, sir. Sandbelly Road, and
Power lines down. the
we put a
middle
lot
the
of
road.
money into that road, just to get it to where it's at today.
And it's a private road, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Private dirt road.
All right.
This one came up when I first got elected. I think they were wanting the county to take it, and we wouldn't touch it.
And we don't want the county to take it now.
Well, yeah, if
We've
I'll be
we've
honest with
done
you,
what
my
we can
thought
do
is if
for
we
it.
start allowing subdivision, we need to look at taking it, to fix it, but I don't want to take on more expense, but I appreciate it. Thank you, sir.
Thank y'all.
I saw a hand raised. Someone else want to speak tonight? Yes, you're welcome to come speak.
Guy Sherrouse. I've lived on Haddon Lake Road for 39 years. This goes way beyond Jamie also too. When Homer Lee was our commissioner, and we asked the county to take the road over. We needed help. County would not help us. They absolutely said, no, we will not take that road. So Reg and all our neighbors, Deborah, and all of us pitched in and got the road in decent shape. And it's an ongoing thing. I'm with Jesse. Yes, we got a neighbor that helps us scrape it, but it's more than twice a year that we have to mess with the road. We have worked, put money, labor, time into that road for a long time. I don't even want the county to touch it anymore. But if we get any more traffic on that road, we're not gonna be able to bear it. We can't do it. It's, I wish y'all could ride down and see it now after a rain. I mean, if we give a variance to someone, I go from an AR1 to an AR2, we're not gonna be able to stop it there. I mean, Jamie couldn't come up and let one person have it and deny another. And then the maintenance on the road is awful now. I mean, we're steady working on it.
Well, you're correct. That would be setting a precedent.
Yes, we will. If we give a variance or AR2, that's just the beginning.
Yeah.
It's just the beginning of what we've got to do. Me personally, I don't want the county to take it over after we put all our money, time, and effort into it for the last 40 years.
Yeah.
And yes, Homer Lee, that was 39 years ago. I can remember meeting with Homer Lee Wallace. and asking him if we could get help. And no, no, no from the county. And now that we've got it to where we can use it and live on it and not get dirt in our engines and brakes, and we've got it nice, and I just don't want to see the county get it now. And we can't afford any more traffic on it. It's just not possible.
Thank you, sir.
And if we give that variance and go to ART, really and truly, that sort of, everybody that bought for that way of living on Haddon Lake Road, it'll be gone. It'll affect everybody. It'll be a subdivision is what it'll be. And that's why we moved in, and that's why we bought in there 39 years ago, just to get away from subdivisions. That wasn't our way of life. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you. Appreciate it. All right.
My name is Josh Hagan. I'd be the one living behind Mr. Edwards, and I don't have a lot to say. I don't want to beat a dead horse. Pretty much the same reasons he mentioned before. As I mentioned in the previous meeting, I'm more than happy to help out with the road maintenance. If I need to get out there myself and get my hands dirty, grade the road, help pitch in with the money and everything, I'm more than happy to do that. Yeah, I don't have a lot to say, so. But yeah, if they need help with maintaining that road, I'm all here for it. You know, yeah.
Sound like they probably need some help with that, whether we approve it or not. They need some help with that road. So.
Yes, sir. That's what I want to do. I want to help out. So.
All right. Thank you, sir.
I appreciate it.
All right. Is there anything anyone would like to add to what's already been shared? Okay, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing and see if there's a discussion or a motion among the board.
I spent all day Saturday working on my easement road. It's myself and 5 other houses on my easement road, and sometimes it's like I-95. And UPS and FedEx, they got one speed, and that's real fast. So it does.
Passed by FedEx today.
It does get crowded. This is definitely a tough spot. When I definitely know the folks involved, and I hear what was said, and there's no doubt that I don't think that, the gentleman would not help out with the road. But in these situations, we're put here, we've got to look at the bigger picture. Like was discussed earlier, it's not about this request, it's about the next 10 that come down there. And in my mind, I live on a private easement road, and I've done some research, and I see the amount of parcels that are up there on the map, and I think about all those parcels getting split multiple times, especially the larger timber tracts. And I really agree with what one of the planning board members said at the last meeting. I really don't think we need to add any more parcels to that road unless it came up to county standards. But as we've heard tonight, and I've heard previously, the residents on that road do not want us to take over that road. So that's a moot point now. So just my opinion and what I'm going to hang my hat on is it's gotta stop somewhere, because if we don't, it's going to get out of control, and that's a lot of residents on a single 1-lane private easement road, in my opinion. So with that being said, I'm going to make a motion to deny the request.
Second. Got a motion by Mr. Deloach to deny, second by Mr. Loper to deny. All in favor of denying the request, that's alternative 2, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Hearing none, the request is denied.
I'd like to add one thing too, and I'm sure you guys know that we'd be going against our own ordinance for a private road to serve more than 3 lots by doing that as well.
Yeah.
You'd have to back this up with a variance around that as well, and they're already well beyond 3 lots on this.
That's why I didn't really think it was that big of an issue to add one more if it was already, you're 20 lots over the variance number already.
Yeah.
You know?
You don't throw
bad
after bad, though. You don't want to.
Yeah.
I think on this one, it's the right decision to support the constituents in that area. So, all right, we're going to move to our final public hearing. Planning Board recommends denying an application by Jesse Edwards for a variance. Okay, well, is that going to be a point?
That's done.
That's a moot point. Okay,
Well, I mean, he would have to withdraw it, right?
yeah.
I mean, you probably have to go through the process of denying it.
Make a motion to deny?
It's a separate application.
All right,
Is
but
it-
I guess need to have a public hearing if we're gonna make a motion to deny. All right, so let me read it and see if there's any, one who wants to speak. The planning board recommends denying an application by Jesse Edwards for a variance from section 6.2.12, parenthesis 1, located at 400 Haddon Lake Road, to waive the restriction that a private unpaved road may only serve 3 lots. This is map number 456, parcel number 3 in 3rd District. And we know the discussion about it. Is there anyone that would like to speak for or against this variance? I know it. Just give them that opportunity to run the process. All right, we're gonna close the public hearing now and entertain a motion to deny the variance request.
I'll make a motion to deny the variance request.
Second.
Motion, Mr. Deloach, second by Mr. Burdette to deny. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Hearing none, it is denied. All right, I believe that concludes the business of the county tonight. Is there anything else for the good of the county that we need to discuss before I ask for a motion to adjourn? Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Deloach, second by Mr. Burdette to adjourn this meeting. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Hearing none, we are adjourned. So do like John did.